We do a lot of e-commerce migrations from WordPress to Shopify at the moment.
Yes.
We have done for the last couple of
Yes,
years.
of course.
What are the three critical considerations when migrating from WordPress to Shopify for an e-com business?
I think when you're moving from like a WooCommerce platform within WordPress to like Shopify, the key thing you have to be aware of is how Shopify is built, this framework. So Shopify uses collections and products, whereas WooCommerce uses products and product category. So if you're moving from one architecture to the next, there's going to be architecture changes. There's going to be URL changes, which we know. And then it's about understanding the whole nuances of Shopify. Shopify is your kind of classic plug and play system that a lot of marketers can use quite easily. There's a lot of tracking that can be built into it. And that's something that you need to be aware of when you're moving from WooCommerce to there, because you have to put it into the new CMS, really. So, but I think when it comes to Shopify, the key consideration always is making sure that you don't just redirect your product categories to the collections, or because the way that Shopify exists is it has collection pages as product pages, and those product pages are canonicalized. So it means that you wouldn't redirect a product through to that URL because you're redirecting one URL to a non-index URL. So you've got to make sure that you redirect to the actual product orphan, not just the collection page. So that's something that we do a lot of work on, is ensuring that that is matched from the start. I think one of the questions we get asked quite a lot by internal marketing teams is, can my web developer do my migration? That's something that we get asked about, and it's something that, we've got experience with working a lot of developers with. So what do you think? What do you think? Should developers be involved in migrations?
They're involved in migrations, yes. They're there to obviously help from a technical perspective. Sometimes they need to support us as the primary migration partner in implementing redirects and working out the technicalities of the platforms and things like that. Also back end, we do look at things like hosting, we look at servers,
Server management,
tagging, all of that. We do need their support and their partnerships. But can a developer manage a migration and be a responsible stakeholder for maintaining the performance of your business when you're about to launch a new website? No.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely not.
I agree.
They don't have the skill set.
No.
That's not what they're designed for. That's not what they've studied. That's not what they've got experience in. That's us.
And that's what web developers tend, the good web developers know where the limitations are, and they work with an SEO partner.
You're right, actually. That's a really good point. They do. The ones that know what their remit is will put their hands up and say, look, you need to go and get a partner.
Yeah.
That's not what we do. That's not part of our scope.
No.
You're right. Because they are painfully aware of how wrong it can go.
Yes.
And they want to also be successful. They don't want to sour the project themselves.
They don't want to be trying to fix a site on the warranty after it goes live.
Yeah, and creating more unnecessary problems for themselves. Whereas actually, it's better for them as well that somebody like us is involved and we are the stakeholders.
Yeah.
It's better for everybody. There's clarity. Everyone knows what their remit is and everyone's comfortable. Launching a site and just trying to put a migration onto the developer's shoulders, whether they embrace it or not, is also not a good thing, because you're shorting it, and actually that's a bet that you really don't want to be taking.
But it's also, you've got your clear owners, and what gets measured gets improved, and we're measuring that performance. We're measuring, so we make sure that it gets improved and it's on our radar. Whereas, like I said, web developers, they're very keen on making sure that they've got the right design, look and feel and everything. And this is something obviously we get a lot involved with. And like you said, good developers.
There are some developers, I have had it, this is really bad, but I have had it where some developers think that migration is just a redirect,
yeah.
and that's bad. If
Or
you,
even just a forward,
Yeah.
just the DNS forward.
yeah,
You know, there are
yeah.
some developers out there that,
Yeah.
that will.
But
that
they're
will do it.
learning, right?
Yeah,
They're
of
learning.
course,
They're early in their
of
journey,
course.
but they are contracted to work on projects.
Yeah.
And they don't know any different.
Yeah.
So that's something that we all got to be mindful of.
I've been in companies that have used web developers for migrations because they do it as part of their service, and it's always a case of you wouldn't trust us to do your wireframes without web developers. You shouldn't trust web developers to do migrations without SEO partners or search partners. What do you consider content migration? Migrating the content, make sure the content is from the old site on the new site.
That's a good question. Asking me. What do I consider a content migration? I think a content migration is looking at what's driving engagement for a start. Well, first of all, even before engagement, what's driving awareness? And awareness content is going to be whatever's being surfaced inside search engines or AI assistants.
Yeah.
Because we look at both.
Of course.
And then from there, determining, that content is getting us awareness, it's getting us surfaced in search environments, which should lead to traffic. And then from that traffic on the site, what content further on from that initial landing page, is driving engagement. And I think a content migration is analyzing all of that journey, all of that data, and then determining what needs to be retained to ensure that performance exists post-migration.
And content, you don't just mean like the blog or the insights, you mean the core landing pages.
Core landing pages, videos, downloads, guides, everything.
All content.
All content, everything. Even images, to be honest. Images depends on the nature of the business, but in the world of B2B, we are looking at solution pages. We are looking at knowledge center hubs and guided content. We're looking at buyer guides and things like that.
PDF downloads.
Yeah. We're looking at all of the above, yeah. All of it all ranks and should have value across the journey.
I mean, we recently did a wireframe for a cybersecurity and cloud managed services provider brand. And one of the key things we did there is we used a lot of qualitative data from CRO tools like Hotjar, Clarity, all those tools. And we could see that people were not getting down the page far enough. So even when you say about content migration, we knew that there's a white paper there that the company had invested a lot of time in, a lot of effort, and it was a key micro conversion into the sales channel. People weren't getting down there. So what we did is, I don't know if you remember, we put an anchor jump point right up the top of the page that took them down there. And then after that went on, we then analyzed the data again, and we could see that that was getting used quite a lot on desktop, which is obviously the main driver from a B2B perspective, but also on mobile. So it was quite interesting.
I do remember.
I don't think you do.
I think I do.
This was recent.
I'm getting it confused with another time we did the same thing.
You were involved in this project.
Migration tricks up our sleeves.
Nothing up my sleeve.
I want to lean forward. I like it.
There's nothing up my sleeve.
I feel like Andy Peters in the broom cupboard. He had
Where's
one
Gordon?
of these.
Where's Gordon the gopher? Should have Puppet in, yeah. That'd be great, mate.
I can bring one. The kids have got them.
Yeah, should bring Puppet in. Great.
No, I know what we should bring in.
Elmo.
No, Barney.
Oh, God, yeah. Elmo and Barney.
Oh, yeah, all right.
We could put them into our podcast.
Oh, but they'll be at home when we...
Just put them
on the background.
On the bookcase.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, next to the awards. I think it's really interesting how we're less than a month into 26 and we've already had so many more inquiries coming from B2B businesses that saw a huge decline in 25 in performance.
Yeah.
And the answer to most of them, as it was in Q4 last year when we've done our audits, is the same. Google AI overviews.
Yeah. Informational search terms.
Yeah.
Top of the funnel.
Yeah, completely. That new search engine result type has driven such a decline across so many businesses because it's generating dynamic content to serve intent, and lots of these businesses are not getting their content surfaced in that result type at the moment.
No.
That, or ChatGPT or Copilot or any of the others that are also increasing in their usage amongst influencers in potential customer businesses.
Yeah, agreed. I think with obviously a lot of the search functions within ChatGPT is more generative, so it takes the content that you've got on your site and generates it into an answer. That content may not necessarily exist on your site, but it's in key places that you might not even be aware of. I remember we did an AI search audit for a brand recently.
I remember.
and it pulled up quite a lot of information that the head of marketing was like, "Where do you get the information from?" I was like, "Well, it came from AI search, the large language models, and it found it on these areas of your site." So you can be very careful what you put onto your pages now, whether it be in your footer, whether it be site wide or anything, because that can influence how the sentiment of your brand is positioned within AI search. And it's something that, we do a lot of work trying to understand now on what content is being surfaced, where's it coming from, and how can we ensure that it's clear for the AI search function, whether that be AI overviews, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Copilot. Obviously, Copilot's used a lot as the primary tool of choice within B2B because a lot of companies are banning the use of OpenAI and ChatGPT. And I know there's an AI ISO coming soon about the compliance of using that in businesses. But I think the key thing when it comes to AI search, and especially the work that we do in AI search with migrations, is just ensuring that there's enough content on the page that can be surfaced. So, because what it's like when you go through migration, sometimes there's a culling of content. Oh, this is too long. This is too long. It's too long. But you have to give the model something. Otherwise, it hasn't got that. It hasn't got that reference point when it comes to the brands. Really, because it's still a channel. It still uses very similar principles to search. So I don't think it would potentially have anything extra you need to be aware of, apart from, I suppose one of the core things would be not using too much JavaScript in your new site. That's something you can mention, because a lot of AI search functions, they can only read HTML, not JavaScript. So if you do have and this is, again, that's something you do from an SEO perspective anyway, so it's not something new you do, just ensuring that the content you have on the page is not blocked from the render of the AI search bots and also Google, but it's exactly the same thing. If you've got M saying about, is anything different or changed since AI search when it comes to migrations? And all I would mention would be ensuring that you don't have too many JavaScript elements that contain content, because AI search can't crawl JavaScript, especially with ChatGPT and those kind of platforms. So therefore, it's not surfaced. So it won't be surfaced, therefore it won't be crawled, therefore it won't be indexed. But same as SEO, really. I think the three key critical areas that most teams don't have visibility on when it comes to migrations are, number one, ensuring that you've got tracking set up, because most of the time sites will migrate, but they won't have any kind of track, and they won't take their GTM container Therefore, there's going to be an issue with tracking on day one. That's one of the main things, really. Well, that we see the majority of times. Second thing, which is something that still happens, is removing the no index. A lot of sites are built in a private environment that are non-indexed, and still sites go live with non-index in the header script, in the header tags. So you want to make sure that your core pages can be indexed. That's, I would say, the second thing. And the third thing I would probably say is an area that brands don't pay much attention to, is just ensuring that you're linking in the same volume internally throughout your site as you were before. Because that's very key signal to crawl, very key signal to ranking and reconsideration in Google. So if you had all these links on your homepage and then you have no links in your homepage, that's going to cause an issue. So these are the kind of things we look into when it comes to those critical pre-migration checks. 48 hours out, sometimes 7 days out. We go through a 7-day UAT on staging to make sure they're in place, so we're not getting too late down the line. So I think probably those are probably what I would say are the most important areas. Number one, making sure your tracking is in place. Number two, making sure that your site doesn't have the no index tag still in place on your site before you launch it. And number three, ensuring that you've got the same level of internal linking and structure that you had in your previous site, your new site.
The one challenge that we do constantly come across is how a budget is put together to invest in a migration partner.
Yeah.
And that in itself is the challenge. A lot of the time, sourcing somebody like Polaris is an afterthought.
Yeah.
And it comes out of a budget that's already been depleted and doesn't really have much more to go. That's not great, because you're going to be in a situation where you might not be able to, mitigate all the risk needed depending on what you're doing.
Make cut corners.
Yeah. I think smart marketers know from, unfortunately, bad experience.
Yeah, scar tissue, as I
that
say.
I'm not going to have an experience like that again. I'm going to go out to market and find a partner to handle the migration at the same time as looking for my creative or development agency. And when they do it part in part, they then are able to fold a budget into the same pot to handle the migration. And the smart marketers that we worked with in the past, some of them do that. Yes. Because they've had that bad experience before. And that works well. And the way to look at it and to justify it internally is that it is an investment that retains your performance and also grows your business. Getting a new website on its own and investing in a new website on its own doesn't drive you performance gains. What drives you performance gains is the retention of your existing performance, so you've got that to build on, and then working with somebody who's got the expertise to be able to take the new site and grow that further. It's not just the new website, you need the partner too.
It's also integrating that SEO into the site from the start without having to go in as another practitioner after it and retrofit. And, again, it's that double handling, that double cost.
I think one of the worst migration experiences I've had was about 7 years ago. I shouldn't be smiling, but it's so horrendous, I can't help it. It's really bad. Not because of us, obviously.
Of course.
We got an inquiry. It was a big furniture retailer. And the inquiry was post-migration. And the inquiry was pretty much, we launched, we've lost 70% of our traffic.
Oh, wow.
And we don't know why.
Yeah.
We need somebody to help us rectify it. So I booked in and went into the business. A couple of days later, I met with the marketing director and met with the marketing executive. It was just the two of them. I started going through it and I started explaining what had caused the migration, because they'd given us access to GA.
Yes.
And the most memorable question from that meeting, from that person, was, is this the developer's fault? or not?
Portion and blame.
And I remember looking at the person and responding that she should probably look at her agreements because only that will be able to determine who was responsible.
Yeah, of course.
Who's a stakeholder for search, an organic search? Who's responsible for it? I left her with that feedback, gave her a proposal to look at a project to obviously try and rectify the situation. Came away from there. A week later, when I called back, she was no longer in the business.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was that. She because the value of that was hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Yeah,
and it was so significant that the board clearly determined that it was a total fail.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, it's gross misconduct or negligence, really.
Yeah. Professional negligence,
which is unfortunate because they're so critical, but that's how much is at stake.
Yeah. Well, I know many stories about companies going into administration, big companies, that just got the migration wrong, got the transfer wrong. Some of the people who I've worked with previously have gone to other organizations, and they're very clever, smart SEOs, and they've got an SEO team, but the stakeholder said, I want to do, the primary stakeholder, the guy with the money, has said, I want to do this, and it goes wrong, company folds, administration, and the guys lose their jobs. It happens, unfortunately, in a bad migration. It happens, though. I mean, I remember before, there's a lot of money being spent on a rebrand, 70, 80 grand, and they were this client was guided by a web developer, rebranded everything, spent 70 grand on this new website. It comes to me, and I look at it, I'm like, this is horrendous. This is so different from what you've got.
I've got a good question for you. How did our rebrand go 2 years ago?
The stakeholder was too involved and changed the site too much.
It's so true. I messed our own launch up.
Well, I mean, you tried to change the whole positioning of the site to be something different.
Yeah.
And
Went too far.
And, good job you've got some really smart people in the business and yourself as well, obviously.
Oh, thank you.
To unpick it and to
Get it back on track.
To roll it back.
Yeah.
And we rolled it back, and it was great, but it was a bad time.
I've got a good question.
This
is such a good question. Let me just think of how to phrase it. I don't know what the question is, but let me talk it through. No two migrations are ever the same, and the curveball is always a different curveball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Because there's so much opportunity for
things to go wrong.
Variance.
Yeah.
There's so much opportunity for variance.
Yeah.
And you have to be all over it, right?
This is why it's mentally tasking. You know what I mean? Because it's something that you can work on a rebrand on one, and it's different on the rebrand on the other.
Yeah.
Or you can do a simple migration, and again, there's something else that will go wrong, or something else that hasn't been monitored, and it's about ensuring that, again, like we mentioned, we've treaded that path before. We're not having to read books or read up on things. Someone asks a question and there's something they haven't thought about, and there's something that's just come in, we can react really quickly. And it's that speed of thought and that speed of action that sometimes is the difference between a bad migration and a good migration.
So, question, with all the potential curveballs that are all completely different and occur in every migration project, what is it about us and the way that we approach it then that means that we can overcome those curveballs and we're not thrown off or, in a position where we can't deliver on our promise?
I think it does all come down to experience. I believe it comes down to experience the most, because we've been through WordPress, Shopify, rebrands, redesigns, architecture, fold-in, consolidation. We've been through the majority of things that can happen on a redesign. We've looked at wireframes that don't perform. We've looked at customer journeys that don't perform. So I think there's only certain times where it can be very tricky, and that is if it's on a new platform or some kind of platform that is kind of built by software engineers as a custom build.
Mm.
That is sometimes a bit more trickier, because there's some very smart people building sites, but they're not website builders. They're internal teams. This happened obviously, a couple of years ago, where the internal team was building a Drupal website, and they were building it from scratch, and they were software programmers. And that had real, I mean, I've been involved in migrations for a long time now, and that had some quite complex things that you had to kind of, get your head around, because it wasn't just standard web developer project. And that was something that involved a lot.
There are so many curveballs that come in a migration project, and no two migration projects have the same curveball. They're always different.
Yeah.
So what is it about us and how we manage migrations and own migrations that makes us perform and deliver on our promise?
I think it's about that broad range of experience that we've got, having done multiple migrations, multiple platforms, all different types, all different styles, different teams, internal teams, external teams. So there's occasions where we work on things that we've worked on multiple times before. So I believe why would Polaris be a better choice than another agency is because of that experience, and experience that is led from the top down.
I would couple our processes and our approach with that, because that's what's built from the back of that experience.
Yeah.
If you look at the process that we follow
Yes.
in a migration, and it's very regimented. If you look at the structure that we have in terms of the documentation and the deliverables and the analysis that we do, if you look at the checklists and the scoring systems that we've got, I think when you couple the experience with all of the infrastructure we have to deliver on an migration project, that's why we win a lot of the projects, and that's why a lot of our partnerships start from a migration.
Yeah.
All about the minimum size of what's the minimum size, like traffic wise? I think, like, how do I know if it's worth getting someone in for a migration? And that's based on
Organic share, organic search share.
well, it depends on how much is the site worth to your business? Because if it's only got I think if you're a marketing manager or you're marketing stakeholder and you're gauging whether the investment is worth it or not, I think you've got to look at how much performance your website drives for your business in terms of traffic and leads or sales. If you quantify that, that will give you an indication over a 12-month period. Is that enough that you want to invest £10,000 into saving?
Yeah.
Because that's what it comes down to. If your website is driving you £50,000-60,000 of new revenue every year or more, well, then £10,000 is probably a reasonable amount to invest. If your website is driving you very little and you don't have very much traffic, maybe your traffic is only marginal in the 100 or 200 hits a month, with only 1 or 2 inquiries every 2 or 3 months, or performance at that level, then maybe it isn't worth a full-blown investment. Maybe some redirects will do, and you're at a very early stage. But it's about, first of all, understanding how much the business is worth, the website is worth to the business. And that's something we can help you with as well. So, I think some marketing managers don't know.
No.
Well, look, do I need to be investing 10,000 or whatever? If you're not sure, then that would probably indicate you may not need to, because the websites that do need a partner like us, those websites are already very established. They've got a significant investment into them from multiple people. You've got content people, you've got PR people working on them, paid search, UX, external partners. And when you've got that much of an investment into marketing as a whole, then it goes without saying that you need a partner to own search and the migration. But if you're at the beginning of the journey and it's just you in a small business and you're not sure, then, take £10,000 as a marker and then determine, well, look, what ultimate revenue did we get that came as a result of our website in the last 12 months? And that will be able to give you a gauge on whether it's worth investing in the site with a migration partner or not. Okay, Mr. Migration Expert.
Mr. Ammo.
I'm going to put you to the test. Give me one work stream or deliverable that we carry out that can deliver up to 40% more performance from a site migration project.
Additional 40%.
And you're only allowed to pick one.
Oh, I could pick about 10. It would probably be the content gap analysis or the IA structure analysis, because there you're looking into the market, looking into competitors and seeing where you underperform in relation to where the market, where the competitors are, understanding your share of search, share of brand versus your competitors, and seeing where you can then build those new pages into your site. By doing that, that can easily get 4%.
I've got a question for you. Tell us about the first migration you handled with Polaris.
Oh, God.
In under 30 seconds. Go on. Just the highlights. Go on.
The first migration. Well, it was my first day for a start. First afternoon I was joining Polaris, I had to look at an e-commerce migration and review redirect maps, structures and architectures that were done by the team previously. And the site was launching that afternoon. So there wasn't time to change much. It was just validation and check-in. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. It was a baptism of fire on my first day.
It was a long time ago. But yeah.
Rock. What were you thinking of?
Codex.
No, Rock, that was me.
Oh, really? Codex was second?
I came in that first day.
Oh, right. I was thinking of Codex.
And I had to look at Andre's, Rob's redirects and stuff.
Oh, Rock.
Yeah. It was the first day.
Shopify.
First afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah. Straight in.
There you go. Didn't even know.
Didn't even know. That was 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, there you go, yeah.
Oh, the Codex room's a nightmare.
Right. What other questions? What questions do we get? Challenges. Again, just thinking about the targeting. Who are we going after? When are they going to use this content? Because it's not just about putting it live. I want to know where it's going to go in a funnel, in a journey.
Yeah,
who's it going to motivate? Who's it going to influence? Where do we use it? What are the sectors we're going after? IT and cloud, hospitality.
Hospitality, that'd be Milton Park, wouldn't it? More or less.
Mm.
We didn't do any migration on Argyle.
No. But I did for Sodexo.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's generic, though. It doesn't really... It's not sectors. There's nothing sector specific.
No, it's
unless
all the same.
Apart from the language.
I mean, the gap analysis that we did on Milton Park was splitting out the main commercial property area into vertical segments by user case of the core ICP. Really, I think is a key thing around AI search, and that is, how do you measure it? You know what I mean? It's like everybody talks about AI search, everybody talks about ChatGPT, AI overviews, Perplexity, Copilot, Claude, but it's hard to measure.
Yeah.
So there's lots of tools that exist in the market, but they very much look at a prompt set. And if you're not in that prompt set, then it's very difficult to measure it. And I mean, at the moment, everybody's talking about it, but people are I think people are measuring the wrong thing. it comes to AI search.
So what's the answer?
The answer is you need to look at multiple data sets, not just look into tools. I think you need to look into your brand mentions, brand visibility. Yes, you need to look into your Google Analytics and your Google Search Console. And then you need to look into having a core set of prompts based on conversational search on your core topic areas to ensure that you look into the sentiment and the visibility. And that is more to do with manual check-in, unfortunately, because there's so much variance when it comes to AI search and visibility and measuring. You could search for something on the computer next to me and we get different results.
Yeah, it's difficult because we're all going to. It's conversational search, isn't it? We're all using different language and we're all using different instructions or prompts.
And it's personalized,
Yeah.
so it looks into your history, it looks into how
Yeah.
you write things.
Yeah.
You get different results to me.
And actually, what you're really saying is that at the moment, it's not even possible for marketers to actually have the time and tools to understand what their exposure looks like in AI assistants and LLMs.
Yeah.
It's actually not viable at the moment.
No.
A tool doesn't exist.
No.
A single tool that gives you a full view doesn't exist.
There are a lot of tools out there, and like I said, they tend to give you like a share of search visibility. But what we just explained about the mechanics of AI search, I don't think that it's achievable to monitor at the level that we monitor other metrics within search and SEO.
I think something that's quite interesting is how our entire industry has gone from being called SEO agencies to organic search.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's the natural evolution of the experience, where now it's about where you show organically within any results, cross-platform or anything, organically, not through any kind of paid activity or sponsored activity. It's showing up everywhere. And that could be forums, Reddit, discussion boards, other sites, third-party sites. It could be anything. You got to look at it holistically. You can't just look into my site, my traffic anymore. As we always say, the journey is now that messy middle, not linear than what it used to be, even 5 years ago. I have a question for you, Mr. Migration. Number 2.
You're too kind.
Amtech. When you do migrations, should you update your paid search strategy at the same time? Because a lot of work we tend to do as organic search agencies tends to just be on organic. What do you think about paid search in that scenario?
It's a very good question, James. Migration expert number 1. Interesting question, actually. One that I'm more than happy to answer, because lately, you know what I realised? We don't just protect organic search.
We don't.
We protect all investment into marketing that drives traffic to the site and conversions through it. That's actually what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We so undersell ourselves.
Yeah.
We talk about organic search and we analyze organic search, but actually we then end up reporting on and protecting campaigns from email, paid, social,
multi-channel.
We actually protect all of the investment that's gone into marketing.
Even referrals.
Yeah, completely. All of it, even digital PR.
Yeah.
All of that exposure is driving traffic and performance through the site. And we look at all of it, and we're here responsible to retain all of it. We really undersell ourselves. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, actually, but that's how valuable the partnership is with us, for sure. Yeah. So coming back to your original question, yes, we actually look at paid search. Yes, we look at your campaigns. We even analyze if your campaign pages need to be no index or no follow, depending on what they're used for and where. And if they could cause canonicalization issues, if they could be duplicates or doorway pages. We look at all of it.
It also redirects. So if your paid search campaign is redirecting, that gets then measured as direct, which affects how your paid channel effectiveness is being measured. So if you're not aware of that, then you can end up in a situation where you are having attribution issues that as a marketer you wouldn't understand. So that's why as a search partner, you do have to have visibility on all the URLs that come into the site.
Man, Test, this was for you. I do know SEO as well. Baby. What makes a good partnership in general, not related to migrations?
I think large language models like ChatGPT and AI overviews, mainly more ChatGPT than anything else, tends to put the brands with the higher equity and the higher visibility within its results. So we're starting to see a bit of resurgence of digital PR and outreach campaigns a lot of the time, because now it's not so much about having that do follow link. Now it's about having that citation in those right areas that LLMs can pull on, because you're being talked about elsewhere. Therefore, it's a clear signal that you are somebody of high authority that they can position within the language models. And like I said, we had a roundtable recently, and we went through a lot of this with a lot of brands, and it was quite clear that that was an area that brands were looking to invest further into, is how to get your brand shown in those key citation reference point areas to then formulate into the AI search visibility.
In my experience, the best partnerships we've had are the ones that are the most honest and open in communication.
Transparent, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think we as a business, we're very comfortable being very open.
Yes.
And I think that I can think of times where we've been in the pitch process and actually, the prospect isn't really talking much, and we've asked them questions and they're being quite guarded.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for us.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't, because actually, if you're comfortable enough to have a conversation with us and we can understand what you're thinking and what your rationale is, then we can help you determine if we're the right fit or not, and actually support you. Yeah. Whereas actually, if you're quite guarded and your communication style is different, really comes across as guarded, but maybe you're not. That's okay. But where the communication style is different, probably is more accurate. We don't have a fit, and I think that probably goes for any business working with another business or two people working together. I think your communication style has to fit.
Chemistry. You have to have good chemistry with each other. You have to have that rapport and that kind of respect, and that's the key thing about understanding. A lot. All our client partners we work with, we have a very good rapport and a very good chemistry with everybody we work with. And that then ensures that they are passionate and working with us, and we're passionate working with them, and that combined passion is what ultimately gets the growth, gets the results.